Play it over here. Hi, you guys. Come on in. Like and share the video. 2 minutes. Five, 4, 3, 2. Hello. This is Lady Rochelle, author and founder of Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. It is Testimonial Monday, and I'm so glad you have decided to take this drive with me as we dive into our topic, not a victim, but a victor. You can tune in at intellectualradio.com. We're also on YouTube. And if you missed the show on today, you can go to Spreaker.com and type in Intellectual Radio as well. The show is being sponsored by Allstate with Paula Kelly, located at 327 East Glenwood, Lansing Road in Glenwood, Illinois, and she is catering to all of your insurance needs. She can be reached at 708-758-3300. The show is also being sponsored by Sisters Working It Out. They are a health advocacy in motion, looking for ambassadors to go in the community to share information on cancer. If that is you, then go to sistersworkingitout.org for more information. If you are tuned in on social media, can you please like and share this video? Like and share the video so that somebody else other than you can get this important information. Our topic today is not a victim, but a victor. And my special guest today is going to be sharing her journey with us on pancreatic cancer. And many of us know Steve Jobs, who is the co-founder of Apple Computers. He was diagnosed with pancreatic cancer in 2011. And he has already passed on, but he left us some gems from his life. One of the gems, he said, sometimes life hits you in the head with a brick. Don't lose faith. And my guest on today is here because why? She did not lose faith. She is a wife, a mother of 3, a grandmother of 1 grandson. She's an advocate, a supporter, a pancreatic cancer survivor who loves reading and spending time with her family. Welcome to Warriors Talk, Vernita Rogers.
Thank you, Lady Rochelle.
How are you?
I'm great, yourself.
Awesome. So thank you so much for taking time out of your schedule this cold day in Chicago, snowy day. I'm excited that you have decided to come and share your journey. It's important that whenever we go through something that we use that testimony to help heal and encourage other individuals. And so pancreatic cancer is not something that we normally hear about. We hear about breast cancer, lung cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, but we very rarely hear about pancreatic cancer. So today, Vernita is going to school us on pancreatic cancer. So Vernita, did I leave out anything that you want them to know?
No.
No? Okay. Awesome. So, Vernita, just take us on your journey dealing with pancreatic cancer.
I was diagnosed in October of 2014. I went to the emergency room. I was having stomach pain. The stomach pain was diagnosed as gallstones. I was in the hospital for 5 days for the gallstones. The gallstones passed the fifth day. And during the fifth day, the doctor wanted to run tests. They ran tests, and something showed up in the blood. And from there, I was told that I had pancreatic cancer. They did a biopsy, um, and that's when they discovered that I had pancreatic cancer. And from there, I was on chemo for 18 months afterwards. The cancer had spread it to the liver. Um, from that point, I was just back and forth at the hospital having chemo. Every day, except for the weekend, I came home with a chemo. They call it a pack that is hooked to your side, and then it's hooked to a port that I have on my left side.
So, what was going through your mind? You thinking you're going to the doctors for one thing, and then all of a sudden it's like you've been diagnosed with this horrific disease that leaves you fighting for your life. What was going through your mind?
Really scared, fear, worried, just fearful. Am I going to make it? You know, when I got the diagnosis, it was just very scary because I normally have my checkups every year and everything is smooth sailing. And when I got the diagnosis of this, I was just really scared. You know, am I going to make it? Am I going to die? So at that point, I had to search out for a doctor. I interviewed two doctors from two different hospitals, and the doctor assured me that I was going to make it because of my age. And I had the surgery. The surgery was hard to come through, where they removed the pancreas and they moved 5 other different parts that's in the stomach and leave you with half a stomach. And I have to take creon medication to help digest my food because they took out 5 different parts, so they had to rewire everything that was left to the small intestine.
Wow, so you went in for one thing and you come out and it's a total life change, totally different. Most people don't even do their annuals. So you actually took time to be consistent with doing your annuals every month. And then you listen to your body when something was not right. You was like, let me go and check this out. And it's important that we take action, and most of the time take it quickly, because had you waited, did they say to you, had you waited, what could have happened?
No,
They didn't tell you the outcome.
Mhm.
And sometimes we wait so long, and by the time we go in, we have no options, and they're telling us what our options are. So it's important to listen to your body, to go in and take care of whatever it is that we need to take care of. The quicker you get in, the better options that you have, and the more successful that treatment is going to be. So you go to the doctor, and they give you this diagnosis of pancreatic cancer, and you find yourself in chemo 4 days a week. They're putting this port inside of you, and you're coming home with something as well. What's going on inside of your head?
Very, very painful. I couldn't do anything but just lay down and just be in pain because there was no pain medicine for it. They suggested Claritin, and it actually didn't work for me. So I just endured the pain.
So you just had to suffer through it.
Yeah.
And how long were you in chemo?
Chemo was like 6 or 7 hours a day.
Were you at the hospital the whole time, sitting there with the
Yeah,
toxins dripping in your body?
yeah, the whole time. Yes.
So during this particular time, you wasn't working, because how would you work?
Right.
You know, and so I think a lot of people don't look at the fact that although you have cancer, now your world is turned upside down. You can't work, so you are married, so that means one income is being minus from the household. And so that's a lot of stress on the household. So psychologically, what was going through your mind? Because it's a lot to deal with, and most of the time they don't give us someone to take care of the mental. They just really worried about the physical. So what was going through your mind mentally? How you was going to get through this?
Mentally, I just thought about my family, and that's what pushed me, even more. My daughter, she was graduating from 8th grade, going into high school. My son, oldest son, his girlfriend was expecting a son, and I was excited about that. So I had to put my mind and say, okay, you can do this. You have to do this, because I wanted to see my daughter graduate, and I wanted to see my grandson. And I just did everything in my will that I could do.
So how did you break the news to your kids that mommy's sick?
I didn't tell them right away. I kind of waited. And when I did, you can tell they were emotional, but they didn't, want to talk about it. Once I told them, that I had cancer. And they were just supportive, of everything from then on. Anything I needed, they were there.
And the support system is important because a lot of times everybody tell you, oh, be encouraged, you can do it, stay positive. And it's like it's easy to tell someone to stay positive when they're not going through it. But when you're actually going through it, you're like, how am I supposed to stay positive? And I'm sitting here and these toxins are dripping in my body. I'm afraid to go to sleep and I'm in pain and there's nothing anybody can do about it. Like, I don't think people really understand, but how did you continue to encourage yourself to keep going?
I'm a believer in Jesus Christ. I read the Bible. I confess healing scriptures to myself. I kept music in my ear. Um, I had a supportive team. My church family, would call, text, anything I needed. They were there for me, as well as my husband. He played a big role. He was at every appointment, every hospital visit. Anything I needed, he drove me here. He drove me there. So I had a great support team. And again, I stand on the promises of God.
Your support system could either be the difference between you surviving and not surviving. Because a lot of people don't have support system, and some people don't even tell people that they're going through cancer. They don't want to tell them because they figure like it's a shame. People are going to be asking all sorts of questions, and we know people say the darndest thing, when you have cancer, right? So I know you said you had your faith, but how was your faith before the diagnosis versus after the diagnosis?
Before it was, I still believe, but even more, I stayed, praying to God, asking Him, to take this away, um, and just reach out, to others and just helping others, that were going through while I was going through. I would reach out to others.
What made you want to reach out to somebody else? I mean, you're going through, so it's like, I don't want to be bothered with nobody else going through. What made you have a heart for someone else who was going through the same thing?
I don't know. I just did.
And do you think that that's important to reach out to other people?
I do.
Why?
Because you're coming through something and your belief is that God is going to heal you. And I believe that helping someone else that, brings you through as well. That's my belief.
It does. Because you're taking the focus off of yourself and you putting it onto somebody else. And sometimes we think our situation is so worse off until we talk to somebody else and you be like, oh, I can deal with what I'm going through because, what they're going through is worse. They should really be out of here by now. So I do think it's important to, seek out other people who's going through, encourage them, help educate them on things if you've already been through it. Because sometimes it's just fear. A lot of us are fearful.
Yeah.
And if they figure like, I don't know what's going to happen to me. But if you come to them and say, girl, I've been through chemo already. Let me tell you what's going to happen. Although we know that, all of us are different, each case by case is different, but the side effects mainly, they're the same thing. So you can kind of talk to somebody and say, hey, oh, that's happening. Oh, okay, well, this is what you do. I tried this, I tried that. And you will be amazed how you would just make somebody's day just by removing some of that fear. Because a lot of it is just all fear. It's just all fear. So tell me something. I know you said you was in your word, reading your scriptures. What was one of the main scriptures that really stuck out to you that, gave you the strength to like, I can really do this?
I should live and not die and declare the works of the Lord. And that's what I've been doing.
Amen. Amen. I know that your church family plays a vital role in your survival, just pouring into you. I know just finding my church home, and from my diagnosis, it was, I think, 2 other people that was diagnosed after me. And just like the whole, it's more than a spiritual thing, because it's more than a spiritual thing to have your church family just to pour into you, and you see somebody else that has made it. It was a lady that was a 17-year survivor when I came in and told my pastor that I had cancer. So to see somebody else 17 years out, and then she looks like she has not been through anything, it gave me hope. So as I look at you today, you look like you don't look like what you've been through.
Yeah.
So what do you say to that?
I say it's all God. He brought me through, praying, standing on his promises, confessing the word, and just staying positive. I changed my diet. I watch what I eat. I cook everything. I cook on my own. I use herbs and different spices. I'm juicer. I juice vegetables. And I drink water more often than I did before I got diagnosed with cancer. But water is my all-around drink. Nothing else, just water.
So why is diet so important?
Diet is important because I saw a big turnaround in my health when I would go for like scans and when I would go for checkups, and my blood work would come out in the number, that it should come. They call it like a CA19. And that number would get low. And because of that, I stopped eating certain foods, and I would just juice and take herbs and different other supplements that I would take. And I believe that helped me, and I believe that it can help someone else. Changing your diet, I believe, is just something big that we should do, because there's so many different things in the food that we eat today. And I just watched my journey as I juiced, and it changed my skin, it gave me energy, and it made me feel great.
I think a lot of people are not sold on that. A lot of people say, "Oh, well, I'm just gonna pray over my food and eat, and God's gonna, whatever impurities are in there, He's gonna remove them," right? And they just continue to eat, overeat, and they figure like there's nothing wrong. But sometimes most of the time, things don't happen right away. Like cancer just don't pop up overnight. It takes time for it to, develop, break down and divide and keep growing in your body. I read somewhere where it was, I think it was like 60 days, 90 days to a year. It showed up to 8 years, like how many cells populate into your body before it would even be diagnosed on a test. So a lot of times it may not show up. It may not show up from 10 years from now. Your eating eventually will catch up with you. So I do believe in changing your diet. You are what you eat. Trash in, trash out. And a lot of times people don't have energy because of what they're eating. And you mentioned your energy level goes up. You feel better. You have clarity.
Yeah.
You can think better without having all of that stuff bogged down into your system. So just it's not an overnight process, but it's a lifestyle. I hate to say diet, like, oh, I changed my diet.
Right.
No, it's a lifestyle. This is something that you want to go on for a long time, because it's gonna benefit you, especially when you get old. You're gonna realize that you're eating when you get old, you're gonna say, oh, let me change. It is too late. You don't really have that many years left, so why not do that now?
Right.
So Vernita, y'all, we are on Intellectual Radio, and she is talking about not a victim, but a victor. And she is victorious on today, and she's just telling us some secrets that she has as far as her survival. She talked about juicing. She talked about changing her lifestyle. She talked about just being in the Word. A lot of times we don't want to give God no credit. We don't want to give Him no credit for healing us. We want to say, oh, the doctor healed us. I took the medicine. God allowed that medicine to work. He has many ways that He heals us. And one way is through the doctors. There's some people that say, well, I ain't going to the doctor. I just want God to heal me. Okay. If God didn't drop that in your spirit that He was going to heal you that way, then don't do that.
Right.
Don't do that. It's a lot of people that have dropped dead waiting.
Right.
Don't do that. Don't put that on God if He did not say He was going to heal you that way. But I think that it is important. I'm going to keep pushing it Food is so important. Food is our medicine. It's our medicine. And if we eat our medicine, we won't have to be dependent on medicine for the rest of our lives. And I think about a lot of times they put band-aids. The medicine is a band-aid effect. They don't really get to the root cause of what's going on until something is really going on. So they just put a band-aid on it. You keep taking the medicine, you're on that medicine for the rest of your life. Knowing that it has side effects, why not eat your medicine? Right. You know that medicine is coming in and going out, Right. So we have to look at our lifestyle, and we have to really sit down and take inventory of what's best for us. And look at the research, look at the statistics of eating healthy. So you guys, if you want to call in, you can call in at 708-223-8953, and you can ask Vernita some questions. We're talking about pancreatic cancer. And again, this is one cancer that we really don't hear much about. But African Americans, they said that we have a 25 increase rate in diagnosis. And it seems like every type of cancer, for some reason, African Americans seem to have, like, we're right there on top of the charts, right? But it is something that we can do about it. We have the control in our hands. We have to be proactive versus reactive. A lot of times we are reactive when it comes to, anything that's going on with our health. So I wanted to talk about family history, because I read somewhere about a lot of times we have family history, but we dismiss it. Oh, that's just Vernita. Vernita has pancreatic cancer. I'm your sister, but it has nothing to do with me. If cancer is in your family, then you need to be checking yourself out too. Yeah. So was there a family link at all in your family when it comes to pancreatic cancer?
Not at all. Like when I was diagnosed, the doctor was really surprised, because he said pancreatic cancer comes to a person that's 65 and older. Yes. And I wasn't 65, and it was one of the third largest deadly cancers. And when you find out about pancreatic cancer, it's at stage 4. And a lot of people don't make it out of 2 months just from getting the diagnosis.
Wow. So I was looking at something that talked about the survival rate, and it says, while pancreatic cancer survival rates have been improving from decade to decade, the disease is still considered largely incurable. It says, according to the American Cancer Society, for all stages of pancreatic cancer combined, the 1-year relativity survival rate is only 20%, and the 5-year survival rate is 7%. When you read that, knowing that your diagnosis, was you like, oh my God, what is really going on here?
I was. When I got the diagnosis, they do what they call a Whipple surgery. It's an 8-hour surgery. So they say your chances is 5 years survival rate if you have the Whipple. So I had the Whipple. And from there, I had the 18 months of chemo every day. And then on the weekend, I had the PAC. And from there, just changing my diet. And
that's a long, 18 months is a long time.
It is. And I could not work because the cancer just had me feeling so bad. I couldn't walk. I fell, a couple of times and injured my face. And I couldn't barely walk. Thinking wise, you get what they call chemo brain.
Yes.
I get the tingling and the numbness in my fingertips and in my toes. So all over, it's just a bad feeling. Yes.
Yes. Yeah, I think a lot of people think once you're done with cancer, the treatment is like, oh, okay, girl, you're doing good. But it's like, you really don't know the side effects. Sometimes they don't come until 5 years after you're done, or a year after you're done with treatment, because your body has to clear all of those toxins out. So that first year and a half, maybe 2 years, it's flushing everything out of your body, especially if you're changing your eating habits. Everything is being flushed out. And then your body, once you're done flushing everything out, your body like, okay, what just happened? Mm-hmm. So now it's starting to rejuvenate itself, but then all of the side effects start to kick in. And some side effects last a lifetime. You just deal with them. Nobody ever know that if you have chemo brain unless you say something. We know those moments when they come and you just like, oh wow, and you hope the other person don't notice it. That's why sometimes I write down stuff a lot or I have notes because you don't know when it's going to come. And it's just like, okay, let me just be prepared for it.
Yeah.
So you just prepare for it. But having the residue, like moving forward with cancer, because right now you're how many years out?
4 years.
You're 4 years out. And so moving forward, trying to start your life all over again. Like, what were your thoughts? Like, okay, now this is behind me, but it really isn't behind me because it's something you got to really deal with for the rest of your life. Yeah. Like, what is your thought pattern moving forward just to get on with life, to make it as normal or your new normal as possible?
Once the chemo, like that last month of chemo, I would spend more time with my family, take trips. Again, I had changed my diet. And after I changed my diet, I started to, have more energy and feel better. And I would say that, that played, a big role. Then I went back to work part-time, maybe like 4 hours, 3 days a week. I really took my time going back to work. And because I was off work for 2 years because I, couldn't function.
Now, did you go back to the same job?
Same job.
Are you serious?
Yes.
Wow.
Yeah, same everything. God is good because
Yes.
I had my benefits and everything was still there. Same job was still there for 2 years.
Wow. So I don't think people really, when you go out sick, that's how you know you have a good job. It's like, okay, what am I going to do? I know some people, like on my job, people were donating me sick time, like just donating me time just so, when I was out, I got paid for the time that I was out. So it's really important to have a good job and to have people at your job that support you and really understand what you're going through. They sympathize with you. Yeah. So that's important as well. So we are talking to Vernita Rogers, pancreatic cancer survivor. We are here live on intellectualradio.com. And again, if you want to call in, I encourage you to call in at 708-223-8953 if you have any questions. So a lot of times we listen to these shows and we get the information, and then when the show is over, we have a question. Like they'll inbox me and be like, "Hey, what?" Ask the question. If you want to inbox, do it that way. But it's important that we get this information and know that there's so many different kinds of cancer out here, so many different types of cancer out here. And really, our best defense that we have is our diet, is our exercise, and being stress-free, yes. And making sure that we are going to the doctor annually, like Vernita said she was doing, just to make sure that you're getting all of those things done annually so that you can have a peace of mind with that. And things do come up, like the pancreatic cancer came up. Sometimes things just happen, and they don't know. Did they tell you, oh, we know it came from here, it came from there? They don't know.
But what did happen by pancreatic cancer being silent, it does have something to do with your digestive system. And I had stomach pain. And I did have gallstones. The gallstones passed. But from there, I had orange urine. And that's one of the triggers of pancreatic cancer. Your urine changes or your stool. But I had orange urine.
Okay, that would have scared me. I thought I would have been like, what?
Yes.
Are you serious? Now, when you saw it the first time, was you like, oh my goodness? Because sometimes it's like, I need to drink more water.
I thought about water. I didn't have enough water. I thought I could be dehydrated. I thought, okay, what did I eat? What did I drink? But when I told it to the emergency room people, when I called to let them know what was going on, it was like, when I said orange urine, immediately they was like, come in. So I came in.
What made you call them first? Because the
orange urine. That's what.
Okay.
Yes, that's what made me call.
Okay, you was concerned.
Yes.
Okay. I mean, it was good that you did that. So some of the symptoms that come with pancreatic cancer, as Vernita mentioned, the dark colored urine, and she said it was orange. That would really scare me. It said itchy skin, digestive problems, as she said. She mentioned the abnormal stool. It says nausea, vomiting, pain in the abdomen that extends all the way to the back, loss of appetite, and she mentioned the gallstones as well, blood clots, and it mentioned diabetes as well. That kept coming up for some reason. For someone to be diagnosed with pancreatic cancer, diabetes was one of the risk factors. Now, are you a diabetic at all?
No.
that it amazed me how sometimes they have all of these different risk factors. One of them was smoking as well. Like people who smoke, the tobacco can lead to you having pancreatic cancer. It mentioned cirrhosis of the liver. So sometimes when you get these diseases, you're like, I have none of that. Like, where did this come from?
The back pain, I suffer from lower back pain a lot. I went to different chiropractors. I went to the doctor to get pain medicine for back pain and the shots that they would give you for the back pain. So I had all of that because I suffered from lower back pain.
Now, was the lower back pain a result of the pancreatic cancer, or you didn't know at the time? You just thought it was lower back pain?
I don't know because I still suffer from lower back pain. Only thing I know, the dark urine, which was orange, was one of my triggers to trigger the pancreatic cancer because I'm not a smoker. I've never had that. I'm not diabetic.
So some of the symptoms that they say are out there. Sometimes you may not even have those symptoms. You may just go to an annual appointment. They do your blood work and they call you back and say, hey, we saw something. So that's why it's important to go and get that annual exam, the annual blood workup, so that you can, again, have a peace of mind. And what we're going to do is we are going to move into a break. Again, we are listening to Warriors Talk with Lady Rochelle here on Intellectual Radio. And we are talking to pancreatic cancer survivor Vernita Rogers. And we're talking about not a victim, but a victor. So when we come back, Vernita, we're going to talk about did you have a why me moment? All right, you guys, we'll be back. Okay, you guys, we're taking a quick Y'all can call me. Hey, Rhonda. Hey, Coach T. Thank you, Jasmine. Jasmine says, wonderful story. Stephanie Jefferson says, thank you so much, ladies. Thank you, Stephanie. Hey, Brian Jones. Hey, Sharon. Doc Michelle. Hey, Doc Michelle. Doc Michelle is going to be on the show next week, which is Health and Wellness Monday. And we're going to be talking about diabetes, you guys. So, you know, that's something that African Americans are being diagnosed with at an alarming rate. So, tune in so that you can get the facts from Dr. Michelle. Hey, Carrie. Linda Harper Williams says, Vernita, you are amazingly a brave hero. She says, help the people sleep. Yeah, she said, thank you, Linda. Hey, Michael. Hey, Monique. Okay, you guys that are on here, hey, Christine, can you please like the video and share the video out so that others can get this information? We know that, again, African Americans, this is not something that really comes up when we go to the doctor for anything. Normally, if you diabetes, it's high blood pressure, breast cancer, prostate cancer, all that, but very rarely do we hear pancreatic cancer. I know a guy, an older gentleman in my church, and he's got a kid. I know he's over 60, and he's dealing with pancreatic cancer right now. And I know his mom had it, and so now he has it, and I think he's been dealing with it maybe a year. I know he did the surgery already. So right now, I think there's one more chemo to do, and then they're going to do another scan to see what he had. And so, yeah, what's been that's a good question. But I know that they wasn't, they were positive. So far, he's done good. He wants to get out and go work. Like, he's getting get out and go work, and he's got to get you back. So, sometimes we have to, like I said, that's that has been good, and that other people's story, they hear the story, and it encourages them. I'm like, whatever the doctors say, they're not going to make it right. So that's why these stories are so important, so that we can encourage other people. Thank you, God. Hey, Johnny. Thank you, guys, for tuning in. We're on a quick break. We should be right back. We should be right back, you guys.
Ready, Sam?
Yeah. 5, 4, 3, 2. And we are back. This is Lady Rochelle, author and founder of Warriors Talk, where we move away from awareness towards action. It is Testimonial Monday, and we are talking to Vernita Rogers about not a victim, but a victor. Before we get back into the show, the second half of the show has been sponsored by Emmanuel Church of God in Christ, located at 3058 West Van Buren in Chicago. With Pastor Michael Richardson and at Emmanuel, we are building up on a solid foundation. Also by Mary Kay with Gloria Dotson. She's catering to all of your beauty needs. You can go to marykay.com/GDOTSON. And if you are looking for a cancer support group, Sisters Working It Out has one every second Tuesday from 5:30 to 7:30. You can go to the Miles Square Health Center at 641 West 63rd Street. You can call 312-574-3053, or you can just go to swiochicago@gmail.com for more information. They're going to have light refreshments, and they're going to have someone to talk about benefits as well as spiritual guidance. So again, we are talking about pancreatic cancer here on Intellectual Radio with Vernita Rogers. Where we left off at is we want to talk about if she had a why me moment.
I did have a why me moment. I was trying to figure out what went wrong. What did I do as far as in my health or just in my life, period, to just get hit the way I got hit with cancer. So that was my why me moment.
Some people say they didn't have a why me moment. They say, oh no, I had a why not me? Like, what makes me so special that it couldn't happen to me? I think I had the why me moment. I was really like, why not me? Like, I don't want to hear that. Just like, wow, what is the purpose of all of this? Like, have you come to some type of conclusion that, okay, was God trying to get my attention? Was he? What was the purpose? What was the message in this? And have you found a message in it?
I have. I can tell my story. I didn't want to share my story for so long, fear. And then you just have to watch the people, that you talk to when you tell them you have cancer or had cancer. Some people are negative, about it. And negativity, I didn't want, a part of that. I was just about positive messages, like wishing me coming through the cancer successfully and, staying that way.
So were you selective in who you told when you found out?
I was.
Yeah. And people don't understand. Sometimes you have to be. I had 2 girlfriends. So one, I told everything. And the other one, I was real selective with what I told her. And one day we went out to dinner and she was like, okay, so what stage are you at? And I'm like, this is why I'm not telling you. Like, no. Because first of all, I have to process that myself before I can just go around telling everybody this is the stage that I'm at. And if I told you what stage I'm at, you don't know anything about it, but what you read and you saw, you don't know what that all entails. So I agree, you have to be real selective about who you let into that circle. Why you waiting on your healing?
Yeah, definitely.
Because everybody ain't rooting for you. To some people just being nosy.
Exactly.
Trying to get the information to find out what's going on, girl. Oh, and then they tell you something, and then it just rocks your world. Oh, girl, you look bad. You this, and then you get home, you're like, oh, you know what? I feel like giving up. Your words have power, so you have to be really careful what you say to somebody who's going through a storm. If you don't know what to say, shut up. Don't say nothing. Just say, hey, girl, how you doing? Give them a hug, and then keep it moving. Because if you're not going to be positive, then you should not be in a circle. There have been studies done showing that positive words, positive thinking contributes to your healing. Yeah. So it's important. And I know you mentioned your husband and how he was just there. He was present. Yeah. And it's so important for the spouse to be present. And a lot of people, some people don't have that. So when you have somebody who was there. So what was going through your mind when you had to tell him, hey, this is what I'm dealing with? He was there already. Yes. Oh my, I should have known. I should have known he was there. Yes. Okay, that's a good thing because you know what? You don't have to go through this stuff by yourself, and you shouldn't have to. If you have a partner, you shouldn't have to. So did you feel like that lifted some of your weight, that he's there and you ain't got to go tell him all over again, but this is what's going on?
Yes, I did.
How did he react when he found out?
Men don't show emotion like women do, but all I can say, he was there. I never seen him cry. He was just there every step of the way. Everything I needed, every medication, every appointment, he was there. And I know he was praying at all times.
How important is that to have a praying husband, a praying partner, when you don't even feel like praying, when you just in pain, you don't feel like it, but you know that somebody else is working and praying on your behalf?
That's very important.
It's important. Yes. So that's why you got to be real. You got to be selective when you pick your partners, because you don't know. Yeah. You don't know who's going to be there. So, hey, Nicole, my sister on here listening. Hey, Marvin. Can you guys please share this video out? We are talking to Vernita Rogers here on Intellectual Radio. We're talking about pancreatic cancer. And again, we talked about how this particular cancer, a lot of African Americans don't know anything about, but a lot of us are getting diagnosed. And even though they said that the numbers are decreasing, but African Americans is 25%. The incident rate is a 25% increase for African Americans versus the whites. And I look at any disease that we're going through, that we do have some type of power over those diseases, but we have to use that power. And a lot of times we don't, because we allow fear to creep in when it comes to us. So Vernita had her why me moment. And a lot of us have, depending on your situation, it doesn't have to be cancer. It could be anything that you're going through. A lot of us have those why me moments. But the one thing about Vernita is that she didn't stay down. Yes. She didn't allow it to take her out. Because a lot of times we allow little things to take us out, when all we had to do is just go that extra mile, and right around the corner, that's your victory. Yes. But you gotta put in some time. God ain't gonna just give it to you just like that. You gotta earn it, because I believe that there's a purpose for him giving it to you. That's a purpose. Some people find their purpose when they're going through pain. And some people it's just a lesson. You get that lesson and you move on. Yeah. And then you share it with somebody, just like you're doing right now. Yeah. And although you were fearful to share it at first, yeah, you're sharing it now. Yeah. So why now?
I've gotten over the fear, yeah, and I believe, and I have, helped others. I mentioned and talked about juicing. I talked about eating differently, eating organically, eating vegan, eating vegetarian, and juicing. And I've shared that with many of my friends, and they have come back to tell me, that juicing, is very good for them, and they've seen the same results that I've seen in themselves juicing as well. I go to the health food store every other day for wheatgrass, and I meet so many people that are going through so many different things. And the conversation starts out, are you drinking that nasty stuff, and why? Or are you just drinking it? So I share with them my story, and they look and they was like, wow, you don't look like, what you just shared with me. And that encourages them. And we talk and we exchange phone numbers, and they ask for juicing recipes, eating differently, as far as the different vegetables. I juice a lot of dandelion. So dandelion is very good getting toxins out of your liver. So that's why I have dandelion when I juice.
Wow. So it's just a matter of going to the grocery store, talking to other people. You learn different things. Most of the time, people go to the grocery store, they're asking no questions. They're just getting food and going right out. They don't really pay attention to what it is that they're getting. But when you go through something, your senses are heightened. You're like, now I'm not just gonna put any old junk in my body. That's right. Because now you know what it feels like. You know the power that you have when you're feeding yourself. And I think we have to get to the point to where we have to allow our medicine to be our foods, or we're going to be getting old and not older. Our bodies are going to feel old before it's time to feel old. And all of these different diseases that come along with that age is going to crap up on you. So we have to just make sure. I don't want to be one of those people that, I'm a grandma, I can't run around with my grandkids. I can't do nothing because oh, I got arthritis, I got all these different things, and I got a bag medicine cabinet full of medicines that I'm taking, and that's all I'm doing. So a lot of times when we're taking this medicine, we're not even exercising. We're not even drinking water. We're drinking a lot of pop. We're drinking a lot of juice. We're drinking everything else. So you're taking all that medicine, but nothing is flushing that medicine out of your body. So most of it, the majority of it is a mindset. You got to change your mind. Once you change your mind, then the body will follow. The body will follow. Okay, you guys, we are talking to Vernita Rogers, pancreatic cancer. Many of individuals are being diagnosed with pancreatic cancer. I'm going to give y'all some more stats. It says this year alone, 56,770 adults will be diagnosed in the United States. The disease causes approximately 3% of all cancers. 3% of all cancers, which you think that doesn't seem like a lot, right? 3%. Because it's so many other different cancers that are out here right now. And we know that cancer doesn't just affect the individual. As we heard, it affects the whole family. Vernita has kids, she has a husband, she has a work family. So everybody is affected when it comes to any type of cancer. So you have to make sure that we're getting the proper physical help and that we're getting the proper psychological help. And sometimes we're afraid. We are afraid to seek out the psychological help. I know for me, my doctor didn't suggest it until afterwards, until everything was done. And then she said, "How are you feeling?" Now she wants to ask these questions. It's like, you should have been asking this when I was going through everything, because that's the time that you really need it. I really think that it should be a part of the treatment.
And I had a great team of doctors at the Cancer Treatment Center of America. It was a team of doctors, so I had a naturopath, a nutritionist, an oncologist, pain doctor, just whatever ailment was going on, I had that. So they were really great in helping me as far as the pain is concerned, um, changing my diet because at that time I wasn't able to eat. I did not have an appetite at all, having the chemo. So that was really hard. I did end up having a feeding tube. I didn't like that at all. So my husband encouraged me, well, you have to eat, you have to eat, you know, and I just took it, time, little time, step by step, and eventually, I would get there.
So a lot of times we try to rush that process. So I'm hearing you say, no, you have to take steps. Each thing takes time for your body to heal. And once your body heals, a lot of people talk about the norm. You have a different norm. It's not the same. You have your new normal. So now you have to figure out what it is that I need to do moving forward with your new normal. So I know that with the 5 year survival rate, they talk about it. Most when they give you that, they don't want you to celebrate until you get past that 5 years, because they don't expect us to make it past the 5 years. So they say, oh no, it's just no evidence of disease right now. They put you in remission. And I'm like, what's remission? Because God don't say remission. God says healed, right? There's nowhere in the Bible where it says you are in remission right now, right? No, he says you're healed. So a lot of times we look at that and we take it and we run, and we are afraid to celebrate, because I was there. I was like, oh no, I gotta wait until I get to my 5 year mark. My son was like, are you crazy? We're gonna celebrate every single year. We're not gonna wait, no, we're not gonna do that. And because they don't expect us to make it to that 5 years. They expect, okay, they have this in their body. We just put all these toxins in their body, so they're not gonna make it. But God has a totally different story. So what would be some advice that you would give to somebody who was just newly diagnosed with pancreatic cancer?
I would say listen to your doctors. And after you listen to your doctors, I would find alternative like juicing and like herbs. Because at the time when I was having chemo, I had mentioned herb to my doctor. And then after that, it's like they discourage you from the herbs. So I kind of caught on to that. And what I would do is when I didn't have the chemo, I would take the herbs and drink the water, to flush my system out. Um, but as far as someone that's going through now, I would just say stay encouraged, stay prayerful, get a team of positive people, around you, and change your diet at the same time, because it's a step-by-step thing. But as you're changing your diet while you're going through the chemo, you still bring in healing to your body, because I saw that for myself.
We have to get it down in our system that the foods we eat are really helping us and not killing us. And it's really just common sense. The food is natural. The medicine is chemicals. It's just common sense. But a lot of us are wired and we're programmed to think that, no, there's really nothing wrong with the way that I'm eating, when the way that we're eating is really killing us. So I'm so glad that you did not lose faith, Vernita, and that you are continuing to push and share your journey. Share it with as many people as you can. Sometimes I'd be like, I know people get tired of hearing my story over and over again, but there's somebody who has not heard it that needs to hear it and needs to know that even in that midnight hour, that God is still there. He's listening. He hears those healing scriptures.
Yes.
He hears your prayers, and that He will deliver. Yes. You just got to stay the course. Yes. You have to stay the course
and have faith and believe. Believe is a big role in this. You have to believe that God will heal you.
Yes. So, what is your definition when you hear the word victor? What is your definition of that?
Victor is just overcoming, fighting, winning, and that's what I push to do, is win and just overcome. I always say that I'm forever healed. God didn't bring me this far, even though I'm not at the 5-year mark, but I still say that I'm an overcomer. I'm still here to share my story and to talk about my story.
Yeah. God didn't say I'm gonna heal you, and then you wait till healing for God. Sometimes it can be instant, and sometimes we have to go through a process. But once He declares you healed, that's it. Yes. That's it. So the doctors, they have to do their thing and they have to say what they have to say. But we know that we serve an amazing God who cares about us and who wants the best for us, and that who's there for us no matter what we're going through. So what's next for Vernita?
I'm currently writing my journey.
All right.
Also, I will be starting, hopefully, I don't know when, but I'm working on it right now, to start an organization to help cancer survivors, pancreatic cancer survivors, and all cancer survivors. I have created bags. I'm going to be speaking at the Cancer Treatment Center of America on Wednesday. So I made all these cancer support bags for those that are going through chemo and those that are there for their cancer appointments. And that will be an ongoing thing with me to just support cancer patients that are going through chemo. So this is just the first.
The first of many. Mm-hmm. Amen. Well, I encourage you to keep telling your journey as much as you can, because somebody out there, somebody needs the encouragement, somebody needs to hear it, especially with pancreatic cancer. Somebody needs to know that God is still in the healing business. Yes. And I wanted to read some stuff real quick from the guy from Apple, the co-founder of Apple, who lost his battle with pancreatic cancer. He did his last words that he spoke, and he talked about just going through life and how you have wealth, and then when you get on your sick bed, there's nothing you can do with that money. There's nothing you can do. So he said, what is the most expensive bed in the world? A sick bed. You can only employ someone to drive a car for you, make money for you, but you cannot pay someone to bear your sickness for you. Material things that's lost can be found, but there is one thing that can never be found when lost: life. And I was like, oh my God, you never know until you're actually sitting on that deathbed. He mentioned something about, don't teach your kids to get wealth. Teach them to be happy. Teach them to enjoy life. And sometimes we miss that because of everything that's going on in the world. We're so busy. We really don't take time out to enjoy life. A lot of times we don't even take vacation. Sometimes we take a day here, a day there. We really don't, sit down and really just enjoy life and the people in our life. So I thought that was, by him being on his deathbed, that was important for us to realize that You know, you only have one life to live, so live that life and love the people that are around you. So thank you guys for tuning in to Warriors Talk with author and founder Lady Rochelle. We are here on Intellectual Radio every Monday at 6 p.m. and we are changing lives one warrior at a time.
Uh, Christine Brown says, very encouraging. Thank you so much. Can you please like and share the video for me? Nicole said, hey, classmate, you're amazing. Thank you. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Thank you, Vernita. I appreciate you. Thank you. All right, guys, I gotta go. I will see you guys next Monday at